So been busy again. Got all these pieces sanded down. This is only half of it. This is pretty much everything that'll go on the car after the body is mounted. I still have all the other pieces that are hooked up to the chassis, and I gotta pull all those loose still and then sand them down. I'm gonna put some self-fetching sealer on them. It's PPG DP90. It's a black epoxy primer. Put that on, and there's two different kinds of that. One kind you got to let sit for a half hour before you use it, and if you're just using it on bare metal, you can use this 402 and that'll you can spray that right away. And then you got to let it sit, and you don't sand that stuff. If you paint within a week, you don't have to sand it. So you got to let it sit overnight. You got to let it cure pretty good before you put your top coat on it. So I'll get that stuff sprayed tonight, and then tomorrow I'll be able to put the bed liner material on it. And then when that's drying, I'll be getting those other panels ready. Try and get everything done and ready before I start the assembly of the chassis. So that's what I'm up to now. This car just won't let me rest. As soon as I thought I was done with all the sanding and all the body work, I realized I still got to sand all these pieces and do all this stuff. So it's never ending. So there's the first round. Got the coating on there. Kind of hard to do when they're hanging, but I don't really know a better way to do it, and it turned out good enough, so it'll look good. Got 4 more piles to do. I've got all the sheet metal off the chassis. So there it is, the skeleton. I'll get that all cleaned up, of course, before I get ready to put it back together. This is my 4th batch. Look at my garage. It's a mess. It's a mess. So yeah, this is the 4th time I've filled the garage up and did a batch of this. And there's a lot of panels. So, got that done now. So now maybe it's time to start building the car. So stuff turned out pretty good. I experimented in different mixes as far as adding some. You can reduce this stuff with the urethane reducer. This is like paint. The way they described it to me, just goes on thick and textured. Anyway, some of them are kind of messed up a bit. It'll be fine. Most of these panels you don't see anyway. But I found just reducing it a tiny little bit works the best. You go too much, obviously, it's kind of thin. But that'll be cool. Have that done. In my climate where I live, even aluminum ends up going bad, so pretty much every time I build something, I'll coat it with something. You know, even if I scuff something down once and put a little bit of clear on it, So anyway, that's that. See, it does clean up pretty good again. Someone was asking if I paint inside here, and the answer is yes. Painted probably 4 or 5 cars in here. I just tape up plastic around here. In fact, it's kind of like a tree. You can count the rings. How many different times I've put up a plastic paint booth in here. And yeah, it's kind of scary. You know, you do get a little bit of dirt. You got to watch out for bugs. You got to watch out for water in the air line, but I've done it. I'm going to show you all this stuff hanging in here. I painted that yellow one in there. That one came out cherry. But look at all this stuff. Pretty much the whole kit is in here. Would have been cool, of course more expensive, but would have been cool to, because now it's kind of like a bolt together kit. All the parts have been modified and fitted, and body's been fitted, all the lights, mirrors, hinges, windows, you know, all that stuff is just a matter of putting it back together, bolting everything on. So time to pull the chassis back in here and start finishing up a few more things. I got to finish up where I'm going to mount those latches. So I got to weld those 2 spots and get them painted up. And haven't researched it for sure, but I'm pretty sure on the other side. See how the slots are here for the cams, the eccentric bolts, and they're on the outside. You know, and then the control arm fits in there. Problem is the other side. This one's welded on the inside. These 2 are on the outside. This one's on the inside. So somebody must have did that after lunch. I gotta cut that back apart, clean it up, flip it around, or just get some new metal. Put over here. If I tear it up too bad, I'll just put some new metal on there. But yeah, dang it. That's kind of a bummer. And then get everything cleaned up, painted, and start putting the control arms and stuff on there. My control arms are used, and when I got them from the junkyard, you know, they're pretty beat up and corroded, so I got all those cleaned off and got a little more cleaning to do on them. But so yep, I'm gonna push this over to the other side. I thought I'd stop and show. I got this set up ready, got it scuffed back to that weld, and I'll just blend it in when I paint it down this tube. So got that welded up, got the other side done, ready for paint. And I'm getting this thing sliced apart. Went down through here with the cutoff wheel. Got that broke apart. I just got one cut to do down the back. And then I'll flip that over and weld it over here. Get that painted up. Lots of spots the tape is pulling off chunks of the powder coat because it's probably because it's rusty underneath there. So I'm not going to be too worried about the finish on the cage. I'll just touch up spots where I need to. Make sure it's protected against corrosion as good as I can. And there's parts that'll look, you'll be able to see it, so try and make sure that stuff looks good. Got that part done. Got it painted. Got the frame all cleaned off. It's nice and clean again. Got these spots done. Got them painted. So, ready to start bolting stuff on. Got the panels on. I used a urethane based seam sealer in between the panel and the frame. I don't like using silicone. And got it riveted on. Steering rack in there. It's pretty straightforward as far as bolting that in. And I've been laying things out for the front. This is a sway bar kit from Quick Racing Products. So I'll put that in. And getting all the hardware sorted out. All the nuts and bolts I'm going to need for the control arm. These came with the kit. I had to go buy some other stuff. And some of the stuff is from Corvette. I put some self-etching primer on there and a little bit of paint. Just try and get them look better. And then the control arms. Those were a mess, so I cleaned those up as good as I could. And I put clear on those. I've done that before on other cars. It works pretty good. And it's easy to clean. All you gotta do is wash it off with a wash mitt or a rag. Works pretty good. So yeah, I think I got all my everything in order, everything rounded up, ready to bolt that stuff on the front. So I'm going to do that now. And then we'll worry about the back.